All right. So let's understand how can we find our niches and confirm them and validate them again. Right. So you would have already worked upon your niches for now. But let's get deeper into this now and how you can methodically derive what is right for you. Okay. Now what you see on a screen is a set of 100 questions that one needs to make for himself to understand the niche that they want to be in. All right. One of the ways to do this is go to answerthepublic.com, right, and write your question through. Let's take the example of the artist thing through, right? Now, suppose somebody writes a question. You see on your screen, there's a outcome that is coming about, right? How to sketch. How to sketch. Now, suppose this is a sketch artist who's trying to find out the answers there. The Once he types a search for how to sketch, he'll come to know what is it that people are searching for the maximum. Now, if you see the dark green circles, the small ones, that are the most potent question that is highly intensified, right? So when you see that, you will realize that some of them are asking how to draw a cat, how to draw a dog, how to draw a still life. Those become your questions. All right. So you start making your questions and put a theme around it. The theme around that would mean like a cat or a dog or a still life or a moving life, whatever that is, right? An artist will think through. Now, with that said, once you have it, you go deeper. Once you click on these, you might get into Google where it takes you to even much more further detailed questions, right? Once we do the practical, I will let you know certain extensions that we can add, and you'll know furthermore questions what it leads to. So you can go deeper in a tertiary level. But in this case, suppose you click, it might take you to a YouTube and start showing you a sketch how maybe a dog is created or a still life is made and so on and so forth, right? Now, once you see how many of those, what is the, how popular is that video or how popular is that search in Google, etc., that itself gives you an inclination, right? So then you put one element of an answer as your story one, right? So, so question was, how do you draw a still life? The answer one would be what you see on your screens is that people have demonstrated through videos. That is one. There could be a second one you see in Google that people have given ebooks how to draw this. Right? The third one is people are holding webinars or live seminars to do these things. Right? The third story. Similarly, you start filling up your boxes. Once you do this, you will eventually realize holistically that there is specific areas that are coming about that you feel is most required out there, right? It would mean you have to hold live webinars. It would mean there are too many sketches or books that people require out there for them to learn, or there are simply enough YouTube videos that are required out there that people want to do this for. And if you see these questions coming from an artist, then you require that artists who want to learn these things, how they do this, right? And then you start creating maybe a course, you start a blog, you start a vlog, or you start a YouTube channel doing these things, right? Those are your digital assets. You get me? So once you fill this up completely with those 100 questions, if you say 100 is too many for more, you'll be surprised that you'll get more than 1,000 questions out of this, right? Once you start doing this. But nevertheless, you should at least do 50 of those to get a good sample to understand what is that asset in the niche level that you would want to make. All right. So your niche will get validated that you become now an artist who can draw still life in maybe people are looking for charcoal related sketches for still life or something like that, right? That becomes your niche of sorts, and what you have been worked upon, maybe you want to tweak it, or already that you search is the one that is coming about, then it validates the process. Here, with that, let's go to the next one. Okay, so I hope you're clear, right? Because if you read the quote on the left, if the passion is not solving a problem, then it's a mere hobby, right? And you're not deriving anything out of it, and not that you give it, it's just pleasuring yourself. So with that said, let's go to the next one. Right. Now I'll take you through a clear example in specific sub niches and how it works, right? Now, if you go to a broader level, right, there are what we have seen, right? There are about 6 niche elements that come about, right? That is what the new screen, the metric shows that. There are about 6 niches which can then have sub niches and micro niches and so on and so forth, right? We'll derive one of those doing this. Now, if you see the niche, right, and we are giving the example of art, the last one you see is art and craft, right? And we went through that whole cycle of answer the public. We went through 100 questions. We said how we derive a story, and we imbibe out of this what a digital asset or the niche validation process could be. Okay. Now, we'll take now a different example so that you see how it flows through, because this is in general public notification. And when I say that, what I mean is that most of you would require to understand how business growth as one of the niches requires so many elements, right? So let's dig a little deeper from here. Now, if the niche is business growth, right, it has several sub niches, right? And we've tried to put the maximum as we could. It could mean sales, it could mean branding, marketing, operations, people, finance, research, industries. It would also mean that venture capitalizing, or finding funds or private equity or whatever that is. There's enough out there, right? We take in something which could be specific. For example, I just mentioned to you venture capitals, a short about private equity. It actually can go under finance, right, as your micro niche. But you can also put a sub niche, right? Because what kind of these guys come to play is becomes a micro niche after that, right? So now let's live with what is there on the screen. So business growth could be the niche. The sub niche could be, say, sales, right? Simple sales. We've been talking about sales as service, etc., right? So let's see. Sales is something that would help any business grow. As simple as that. If you have the right assets and you have the 4 P's in place, right? 4 P's really the promotion, product, and product activities. Now, in the sales itself, there are micro niches. Some of them are listed there: lead generation, automated selling, direct sales, and so on and so forth, and then negotiation. Right? Now, you might want to pick up that micro niche itself, one of these, right? Suppose direct sales. So say we talk about video, right? Say video sales, right? The person who's choosing his niche to be business growth, his sub niche to be sales, his micro niche becomes video sales, right? But now he has to dig a little deeper than this. This video sales, when he verticalizes for a particular persona, this could mean a vertical industry, could mean people, that is between say age of 30 to 50, or just teaching video sales itself is a micro niche, right? So it gets derived into that format. So from your perspective, if you are someone who want to let people know how to make video sales, since you're experienced in that and you love doing that and you're passionate to grow that as your next level of activity, you might choose that as a micro niche to create your books, you create your courses online, you create your ebooks, you create a YouTube channel showing them how to do this, you take people through live seminars, or you get people to your seminars to do this, and so on, so your webinars to do this, and in the process you create a income source for yourself, and at the same time find people who require the skill or desperate like you are to find that niche for themselves. And if there's somebody who can take them through as a guideline, they will definitely want to pay for it, right? Is adequately equipped. So that becomes a niche. That's how you see this. Let's take another example: marketing. Marketing, okay, guys, this marketing can be even much longer and bigger than this. But let's see, and let's stick to what is there on the screen. So digital marketing, for example, under the marketing list, there could be digital marketing, there's offline marketing, right? Now, as we've been discussing previously, there is an influencer marketing, there's a whole social marketing zone, right? In social marketing, then there is these various platforms that itself becomes a micro niche, right? Now, you one might become an expert as a marketeer for digital marketing using FB. That itself is a super niche, right? And if you add to it an element of a vertical, for example, you become a FB marketing expert for jewelry online stores, your gold mine, right? Then you blast yourself. You make your courses, you make your ebooks, you make your applications, you make your e-commerce sites, you make your courses, whatever. That's what it means. Does that give you clarity? Right? Similar than offline mode for these things, the print, the radio, and display. But that since this is not the scope of what we're discussing, right? The print to some extent is radio from a podcast, yes, and display from a screen perspective is offline typically deals with other media which works offline, right? But if you take the offline media, the print, radio, and display, and put it in the digital format, that becomes the usage here for the purpose of this course. Okay. Right. So digital asset could be your podcast, your ebooks, your courses online, your applications that you make for the better usage of people. You make it for you make platform for people to start talking to each other for their purposes for the similar activity that you're creating. Could be anything out there. Okay. So I hope this gives you clarity how to get to your micro niche level. Okay. And this is very important, and this is your fundamentals to get to next level. Got it? So what we covered now is how you get to your 100 questions, find a story around that, use that story, come to a point where a marketing, not marketing, but a matrix like this comes into play, and you categorize yourself. Once you categorize yourself, you know what your micro niche is. You fill this up in your playbook, and then start thinking of the assets that you want to create out of that space, which will help you create a business plan. Am I clear? Right? On that note, let's see. I'll jump into the next one by telling you how to go about finding, revalidating your niche and closing it through a market person. Right?